Hey, Stubby. Thanks for the response. Glad you got to see the video. You point out just a few things I did want to respond to, and it's a little bit longer than what text would do, and I felt like just go ahead and do a quick little video, so I'm going to try and make this brief. Right. Okay. You talked about how science kind of takes the fun out of life. That's not exactly what you said, but that's basically what you're saying. That if everything is natural and that everything can be explained by science, that it kind of takes the fun out of it. And you're kind of right, but you're kind of not. As you may or may not know, if you've seen some of my videos, you've seen me do a couple magic tricks. But I'm into magic, and magic is one of those things where if somebody does a magic trick for you, right? I'm going to do one for you guys real quick. Someone does a magic trick for you, right? And what they do is, trying to stay centered here, they do the trick, and you go, wow, how'd you do that? And you're like all impressed. But if you knew how the trick was done, you're like, oh, that's it. As a magician, that I've been so disappointed so many times with, that's it? That's how you do it? That's it? Which is really a way of saying, I fell for that simple little trick. And once you know how the trick is done, once you see, oh, well, here's the card. Once you see how the trick is done, it kind of loses its sting. But there's another way to take that. There's another way to take it. Me and another magician friend of mine, we're always exchanging tricks when we get new ones. And I had one, and I showed it to him, and he's like, wow, that was awesome. How'd you do that? And I showed him, and it was so simple and so stupid. He had a totally different reaction than you mean that's it? His response was, that's genius. That's genius. You can look at life and say that, science explains things away, and all of a sudden it's not special anymore, and we're just here to procreate, and it's just, as you said, we knock somebody up, and then they'll knock somebody up, and off you go. Or you can realize that in the process of all that knocking up, look at what we've accomplished. We've managed to leave our own planet. We've managed to find ways to fight off diseases and build artificial parts for people. Look at what we've done. And you can go, yeah, but all they do is they just, clip a spot here off of your vein, they attach this, and they pull this out, and they replace it with a piece of metal, and it's really nothing that special. Or you can go, oh, it's a miracle. Yeah, you kind of take the fun away, but you can also look at it as, wow, look at what we've accomplished. And that's kind of the way I look at it. I don't think that, science being able to explain everything, I don't think that really diminishes anything about life. For me, it's just like, wow, that's how it works. So that's the thing on that. You talked about, another thing you talked about, you mentioned is God is love, God is unity, that sort of thing. I can't call that a God. That's just a definition thing. It's a semantics issue, really. For me, that's just not a God. That's just what it is. And emotions can seem mystical at times, and they can seem, whatever. But I just can't call that a God. That's, some had the question mark of God mentioned that she thought that energy was, this energy idea, kind of like the Jedi version of the Force. Not making fun of her, she's awesome. But talking about this energy thing, I said, well, if that's the case, then what about the sun? The sun's a lot of energy. What about nuclear power plants? What about your light bulb? Energy is just energy, and just because you have a whole lot of energy doesn't make it any more of a god than anything else. So, like I said, the definition of God I can't go with, and that's why I say atheist, because there is no God. That it doesn't work. Whatever it is that you want to try and make into a God isn't a God. It's not. All right, last thing you brought up. Actually, my goal was to stay under 5 minutes, and I failed miserably. Well, you talk about art and music. I am a musician. You do know that. What you may not know is that I don't have anything over here. I'm also an artist. Draw, paint, sculpt, weld, ceramics, blow glass, prints. What else have I done? All kinds of crap. I've got to have something around here nearby. Well, I don't have nothing I would call art. But here, I'll show you this. Dump all the crap out of it. See this bowl? See if I can get some light on it. Maybe we'll just call it Paul's Red, which is one of my favorite colors to work in glass. Because what it does, and you probably can't see it all too well. Let's see if I can turn it this way. There we go. See all the color variations? There's a chemical you put in there, and as you get it to certain heats, the hotter you get it, the more red comes out, and the rest of it stays dark, and you get these neat little swirls and marbleizations in there. And so I really liked it. But that's not, making this is not art. Art is an idea. So are ideas God? That's really what art is. Art is an interpretation and transferring over. I don't see art as being just pictures. It's communication, and it is what it is. But that's my thing. All right. Well, I said to keep it brief, and I'm failing worse and worse with every tick of the clock. But thanks for the reply. Appreciate it.